Boom. We are recording. Okay. For real this time. Hi. Cool. I think I know almost everybody in the room. Thanks for being here. Those of you that are online, thank you for making your time as well. I know you all don't have school or anything tomorrow, right? So this is like break. So I really appreciate you all being here with our really short season and how late BOA kind of ended up going. We just didn't really have a lot of like good times to do this thing. So I really appreciate you all being here, either in person or online, to be here for this today. I was talking to Matt Broom before we got started about how cool a moment this is. Just by show of hands, how many of you are like remotely familiar at all with like WGI? That's Winter Guard, Indoor Drumline, Indoor Winds. Anybody like remotely familiar? Raise your hand if you just like really don't know what this is about at all. Okay, cool. So a little bit, kind of a mix in the room. Cool. It's kind of what I was expecting. So just a little bit of a backdrop before we get going. Indoor performance, indoor like marching band type things started like 40 some odd years ago with Color Guard. They created what they call Indoor Color Guard, Winter Guard. We have one here at Signal Mountain. And it was just like a really cool way for people to do their Color Guard performance stuff outside of the 4 months of the fall. And then it became really successful. It's like the biggest, it's the biggest of all the groups still. There's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, probably thousands really, of groups of indoor guards across the nation. It was so successful that they created indoor percussion about, how long ago, 30 years ago, something like that. They created indoor percussion. And then that was really, really small. And then it expanded and expanded and expanded. And it became so successful that they created what we're here today to talk about, which is indoor winds. We'll talk a little bit more about what that is as we go. I've got a lot of stuff to get through. I'm gonna go pretty quick as I think I can. But I still want to convey information. If you have questions, we'll have plenty of time afterwards if you want to ask it in a full group setting, or if you want to just ask me things after we're done, just come talk to me because I'm here. We can do that. If you're online, you can send message questions here, and we'll get to some of those at the end as well. So let's jump on in. As you saw the next slide, I want to say just a little bit about myself. My name is Jordan Pittner. I think everybody in the room here knows that. I like to call myself a native of Chattanooga, even though I'm not really a native of Chattanooga. I came down here for a degree in music education, and I just fell in love with the city and don't really want to be anywhere else. I've made that mistake once already. I have been here at Signal Mountain. My first year here was 2011. The band director, Robert Groves, at the time, invited me to come in and work with the program. And I've been here almost every year in some sort of capacity since then. I've been the visual director. I've been the drill writer. I've been a #1 fan at times. In 2018, I moved across the country to Arizona for an arts administration position. It was a really cool way for me to kind of connect people who were interested in the arts with programs for them. And then it turned out that the school lost like $40 million in financial aid. And about 4 months after I got there, the school was no more. So kind of threw the rug out from underneath my plans. But in all that time, I've been a music educator. I write drill, marching band drill for groups across the country. So this is kind of my full-time thing. I knew I wanted to change from Arizona in the spring. Ask me about it sometime. I had like 3 or 4 different places I was looking to go, but ultimately, like, this is where I wanted to be. This is where I love being, and I'm just super happy to be back here. Okay, let's talk about the real stuff. The first thing I want to talk about is the organization and how it's going to operate. This isn't all the cool things. This isn't the bells and whistles of like, hey, here's our show, and here's our show name, and here's our show theme, and this is how we're going to audition. We'll get to that stuff, but I want you all to know a little bit about what the strategic vision is and how we hope to accomplish this. So you'll see a little spoiler here for our website that will be up on Sunday. But we're operating under an umbrella called the Chattanooga Pageantry Arts Association. The goal for this program is just to be an arts advocate for the greater Chattanooga area. That is to, I mean, you all know, like, music education could use a little bit more support here. And we're really fortunate and grateful here at Signal Mountain to have a lot of support from our parents, from our communities, from all the people here. We want to push that out to the rest of the county. We want to find more ways for us to continue to get more support here. I think a great, well, I could talk about this for the next hour, but that's sort of our vision where we're starting. The way we're going to achieve that with this program is through new programs like this Indoor Winds. This is just the first of many ideas that we have to implement in the area for different music programs that help different types of people, different kinds of people. And that's our hope, is to reach everybody who needs a home. We're hoping to get more opportunities for students, like university students, educators, more opportunities to train and grow them. And even you all, if any of you are interested in music education or just doing this long term as a performer, we want to offer opportunities for you as well, not just in this group, but then wherever you want to go, whatever you want to do. And then through countywide arts advocacy. So our objective for the program in 2022, which is weird for me to say, I still feel like 2021 just started. It's been kind of a whirlwind, but the goal in 2022 is twofold. You're here for reason number two, but the first reason, the first kind of thing that we're implementing here is an Indoor Winds program. And that's what we'll spend the rest of our time talking about tonight after we're done talking about our mission here. We want to put together an A-class show, and I'll talk a little bit about what that means later as well. But we want to do it with world-class stewardship and organization development. And what I mean by that is just making sure that we're protecting our members, that we're focused on education first and development. That's not only as musicians or performers, but also as students, because pretty sure everybody who's in here right now is a student, and we want to make sure that that takes precedent even over these high demand things that we're asking you to do over the next 4 months. And then purpose number one, or our first goal number one for the year, and this one's mostly for any parents in the room or online, is we want to build a well-governed organization prepared for long-term success. So just so everybody is clear on this, Chattanooga Pageantry Arts Association is not yet a 501c3 company. It's a corporation owned 100% by me. And the reason for that is because we need to build a board of well-qualified candidates. So we have one that I'm super grateful for, Stuart Bankert. He's agreed to be part of our board. He's going to be a wonderful asset for us. If you're interested in being a member of our board long-term, if you believe in our goal and our mission, let's have a conversation about what you can do or how we could use your support in the future, because we definitely need that. And I've got a few bullet points there: foundational governance, risk management, making sure we're protecting everybody through employee training, making sure that we're insured, all those important things, revenue generation, and then mission-driven programming. So let's talk about the fun stuff. What is Indoor Winds? All right. So if you were here in the last half hour before we got started with the meeting, you'll have seen a little bit of what Indoor Winds is, or what it can be. Like I mentioned earlier, about 30 some odd years ago, they implemented indoor percussion as just a means to grow the activity a little bit more, to have kind of an indoor setting outside of the fall where people can continue to do marching band type activities. And that started out really, really small, and then it grew and it grew, and now it's a huge thing. If any of you were with us last week at Bands of America in Indianapolis 2 weeks ago, has it already been 2 weeks? Oof, that doesn't feel real. If you were there, it's sort of kind of like that. It's like the Super Bowl of indoor, and that's Winter Guard International is the circuit that takes over that, much like Bands of America is for marching band. It's a chance for us as a community to build a new skill set. It's a little bit more like, do you have any sports fans in here? No? Okay, then I'll cut the sports analogy. I'll completely cut the sports analogy. It's like, do you watch Foursquare on ESPN 8? No? Okay, well then it doesn't matter. It's a little bit, I like to compare it, the venues are kind of the same. When you go to a football game, there's 100,000 people there, and the field is really, really big, and you're like, when you're watching marching bands or when you're watching football, it's like, it's really big and grand, right? Well, indoor happens in basketball arenas, and in much the same way. It's scaled down. There's a little bit more theatrics. If anybody ever goes to, like if you've ever been to a play versus like a movie, it's kind of the same thing. One's like bigger in scale. One's a little bit more like, well, theatrical, right? A little bit more conceptual. So right here, I've got a video I'd like for us to watch. It's like 3 minutes. This is mostly a video. It's kind of like arts advocacy for WGI Winds. Talks a little bit about what it is. But then what I think would be most beneficial for everybody here is when we're watching this, just kind of watch the performers, watch the things that are happening on the floor. And I think you'll start to get an idea of how it's different than traditional marching band. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Great. Guess I should click here. Thanks. In just 1 second. There. Okay. Sorry.
The Winds division is a way to get your kids who enjoy marching and moving and get their Shako off, get them that. It's a different experience than marching band.
These kids are learning not only how to move their body and play at the same time, but to do things that they never thought could have been possible.
Our kids are incredibly dedicated. We're really proud of the culture we've been able to build. So it's really an opportunity to help our performers grow as people, build relationships within the activity, as well as growing their musicianship and visual skills.
There are no rules that limit the ensemble. So there's so much creativity has come through with the Winds division. We aren't limited by anything instrumentally.
You never know what you're going to see when you go to a show. It's always exciting, and there's so much variety there.
I know a lot of band directors have fear and apprehension that they think that if I start this Winds program, it's going to detract from either my marching program or my concert program. And the exact opposite is really the reality of the situation. Your students will grow as performers, they will be more confident as performers, and then that will bleed into all of the other aspects.
Every week, our kids are getting 6 to 8 more hours of instruction, 6 to 8 hours more where we're talking about basic musicianship, tone quality and articulation and balance and blend. And we're talking about all of those things in the idiom of WGI Winds, but it's crossing itself over into everything else we do.
Getting to perform to everybody and just seeing the crowd's faces light up. And it's just one of those, like, it's almost like a one-on-one interaction with the crowd and get to react and you feel the emotion on their faces. And it's just one of those experiences I'm never going to forget.
I think the kids will love it, the performer experience and going to a retreat or making, finals at a regional or a championships. I mean, there's just nothing like it.
There's so much to do with this Winds group. It's not just about playing. It's not just about moving your feet. It's not just about emoting. It's so much more than that.
It's all about the education. It's all about sharing. It's all about the growth of the activity for the sake of the students.
We're all in this new adventure together. Everyone wants each other to be successful and have fun, and everyone has made new friends along the way. It feels like a very tight-knit family.
For anyone that has, I think, any thought of wanting to participate, I don't think there should be any deterrent. It's a fun way for the students to participate in something that is a little bit different from what I think schools would normally do with their marching band programs.
And I would really encourage people that are thinking about it to go see a show or take your kids to go see a show or talk to a director that's running a group and get a firsthand feel for what it is. This is making our kids better. This is giving our kids performance opportunities that they would not have in any other way. They anticipate it. They're not quitting other things for it. They are just continuing to grow musically and from a performance perspective. And I would change it for the world.
Cool. So it's a really cool thing. I'm really excited about it. This was started, I think 2016 was the very first year of WGI Winds, the official sanctioned contest in Dayton, Ohio. It's kind of the world championships there. And just like percussion, it's kind of started out in a lot of the same ways. There's not a whole lot of groups that do this just yet. You know, there's probably fewer than 100 in the entire country that do this right now. WGI splits their classifications in 2 different ways, and then 3 more different ways. So there's kind of a lot of complexity to it that's a little bit different from marching band. But the thing you really need to know today is that the 2 major classifications are scholastic and independent. All right, and they're just kind of what they sound like. Scholastic would be if we took the Signal Mountain High School and created our own program through the boosters, and it was funded through the school, and only people from Signal Mountain could be part of this group. And when you look around the room, you'll see it's pretty clear that it's going to be a lot of Signal Mountain people, but we're operating on the other side. We're operating in the independent class. Independent class is basically, at this point, anybody is welcome. They've put an age restriction on percussion at this point, but not for winds. It's anybody can join, that sort of thing. So that's what we're going to operate in. We're going to compete as an independent thing. So while we have a lot of support from UTC, while we have a lot of support from Signal Mountain, we're not necessarily going to be competing as a scholastic unit. We're going to be independent, bringing in people from all over the region to kind of help fill our program's objectives. All right, who's ready to talk about our group specifically? I think that's what we really came here for today. Yeah. All right, I'm not announcing a name today. Sorry about you. We're close to, oh, why did I even come? We're not announcing a name today, but here's what you need to know as a performer, or as a prospective member. We're meeting weekly. It's going to be on Fridays and Saturdays. All right. We've done some surveys to figure out when people have things going on. In large part, that is weekdays. A lot of people voice jazz band here specifically as a concern. Some other different things. This is how most independent groups operate. In my experience, when I worked previously with Chattanooga Independent, which was an independent percussion program, what ended up ultimately happening was people were coming from Knoxville, people were coming from Jacksonville State, people were coming from Nashville. They were driving here on Friday. We would rehearse Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then we would all kind of go back to our own place. So that's sort of the model. Even though we're a little bit more local than that, that's still the model that we're going to operate. Our maximum, what I'm calling our maximum allotted rehearsal time, which means we'll never start before this, we'll never end after this, is going to be Fridays from 5 to 9. And we're going to do that at the music building, the Fine Arts Center at UTC. That's an opportunity to get some other people who aren't here on Signal Mountain to have a little bit more of a localized drive. And then we're going to spend our big day, Saturday, here. So for the most part, we're going to be in the basketball in the gym. Sometimes we may have to be in the cafeteria if there's other like basketball tournaments or other things going on. We're going to have to share the space and be mindful of that. But unless you hear otherwise, it's always going to be Fridays at UTC, Saturday at Signal Mountain. We're starting on January 14th with our official, hey, we are in our season, ready to go time. All right. The reason we're not starting sooner, obviously Christmas break. There's also, how many of you are auditioning for senior clinic, All East? Yeah. So if you look around the room, quite a few of you are doing that. Auditions are the week before that. And then you'll notice when we hand out the schedule in just a few minutes that we've also got some time off for those things. We're preparing an A-class show. So there are 3 competitive divisions. A-class is sort of the building our skills as an ensemble. If you continue to have a lot of success in A-class, you can either be promoted or choose to move up to open class, which is a much more competitive class, and then world class is above that. That's like the cream of the crop. So spoiler alert, that's our destination. That's where we're trying to go. All right, but we're going to achieve that this year by being an A-class group. Also because we're doing this in a 10-week. Schedule. A lot of people started back in November, like mid-November, early November, and they're going to keep rehearsing all the way through Christmas break and then into that. So we're trying to be kind of strategic about what we do this year in terms of competition and show preparation. we're tentatively competing in the Georgia Indoor Percussion Association circuit. That's basically from up here down to Atlanta. They host a bunch of different shows in different areas, where our plan is to do two shows near the end of our season. And then the last thing that I really want to stress, because I know we have a lot of things going on. I know like everybody in this room has other stuff that you're responsible for over the course of the year. We have a school prioritization policy. Okay, what that means is that if you have, for example, some sort of, I don't know, can somebody give me an example of something you might have on a weekend? Well, yeah, band concert's like the easiest. So let's say you had a band concert on a Saturday, then all 20 of you in the room would come to me and say, hey, we have a band concert on X date. Okay. Now, you don't come to me 24 hours before that, right? You come maybe up to 2 weeks before and just let us know, hey, I have something that is school related that I have to be at, and you are automatically excused, no questions asked. All right. We are going to say, just for the sake of it's a competitive thing, our final show day is the thing that's required, because that's what we're working towards the entire year. Otherwise, it's 100% across the board. Even the night before our show, if you had some school responsibility, communicate that to us. You're still excused, even if we have a show the next day. Makes sense to everybody? We want this to be a compliment to your education. We want this to be a compliment to all the other things you have going on in your life, not a burden. We know that we're already asking a lot by asking you to give up a lot of your weekend to do this kind of thing. So here's a breakdown of our schedule, and you'll see some payment information there. We'll go over that in just a minute as well. But on Sunday, we will have our website up and running. When you go to the website, there'll be a registration button. If you don't register for auditions today, that's where you would go to get yourself registered online. Holly's going to hand out a schedule for you, so you have that as well. On the back is a fee structure. We'll go over that as well. From our auditions that are on December 10th and 11th, that's going to be a Friday, Saturday, and it's going to be the exact same thing. Friday is going to be where? UTC. Saturday is going to be where? Right here. Okay. We'll tell you exactly where to meet on a week-to-week basis. We'll tell you that at least by Friday night. So it's going to be the same thing. Friday at UTC, Saturday here. You'll get an audition packet whenever you register, as soon as Sunday. That audition packet, I just encourage you to read through that. We're not operating on a prepare a piece, or we're not going to give you a pre-written piece to learn and perform in a private setting. For auditions, what it's going to be is we're going to give you a packet of information that's, hey, these are the things that we're going to work on throughout the week or the weekend of auditions. Be prepared for that. All right. And then we'll talk a little bit more about the audition process a little bit later. Our rehearsal weekends, we have 2 in January, 3 in February, 3 in March. And then we have our rehearsal weekend community performance. That's also likely going to be a show. And then April 1st and 2nd is kind of the big one. That's the Georgia Indoor Percussion Championships. It's going to be somewhere close to Atlanta. We'll all travel, like we'll have bus travel for that and get everybody down together, so you don't have to worry about transportation to any of our shows or anything like that. And then the last big thing before we open up the floor to questions is our fees. This is twofold. So that the whole thing, to do the entire thing, will be up to $425 for the year. Okay. $25 of that will be an audition fee. So if you're interested in being part of the group, joining us on the 10th and 11th for auditions, then you'll pay a $25 fee for the audition, so we can prepare our facilities, prepare our staff, do all those different things that we need to do. The membership fee is $400. That's going to be in 3 installments or 1 installment. That's up to you. So you'll see on the page or on the slide here, there's an early bird savings. So if you pay the full thing by December 31st, it's $350 and it's done. So you get $50 off of the total. So I guess with the audition fee, that's $375 for the whole thing. Otherwise, like you saw on the calendar back here, December 31st, we need to know whether you're part of the group or not, because on January 1st, our arranger starts writing. So we want to make sure that we know who's going to be in the program by then. So your contract, which you'll receive if you are selected as part of the group on the 11th, you'll send that back, and then you'll do a payment either online or to me or to Matt, our assistant, somebody who's in the area that you can connect with. The second payment's due January 29th. That's our second full weekend of rehearsal. And then our final payment to help make sure we can close out the season is $100 on February 26th, which happens to be my birthday. So keep that in mind too. Happy birthday, us. Okay, so that's the spiel. So if you want to know what to do next, if you're ready to audition, we've got manual, like, write your stuff down registration here today. We can take check. We prefer check, but if you have Venmo or Cash App, we can use that as well. Once the website goes online on the 28th, if you prefer the online thing, that's totally fine. You can register as soon as November 28th on our website. Our website, I believe it's on the paper that I gave you. If not, you can write this down. It's chat, CHATT, PAA, Pageantry Arts Association. So chatpaa.org. You can register on the 28th. Once you do that, you'll receive your audition packet. You can read over those materials. We highly recommend you do that before you get to the camp. We'll start registration at UTC Friday, December 10th at 4:30. All right. So that's the only time that we'll ask you to be there a little bit earlier, just to make sure that we have ourselves registered. We'll really probably get started around the 5 o'clock hour. And so that's kind of when things will begin. So that's the spiel. That's what we're doing. That's kind of the first step for us and what we're doing. I'm going to just open the floor to questions. What do we want to know? What would you like to know? Yeah.
I have a question. So
Yes.
Music City WGI auditions are December 10th through 12th. Is there any way that I can have like an alternative audition?
Yes, absolutely. And I don't know if anybody in the room is included in this. Some people might be online. That's also the weekend of Junior Clinic. So yes, on our registration form, there's a question saying, will you be available for the audition weekend? Just select, hi doggy. There's a question that'll say, are you available for our December 10th and 11th camp? Just check no, and then we'll handle that on an individual basis.
Okay, thank you. I was worried about that.
Cool. Also, good luck in your Music City auditions. It's awesome.
Thank you.
Cool. What else do we need to know? I don't think it is anymore, actually. I don't think it is. There will be, just so you know, I mean, this is getting a little bit ahead, but it's good for you to know. We're also going to ask every single member who does get a contract to participate in a fundraiser for us. All you need to do is collect 25 valid email addresses. And what we're going to do is take those email addresses, send one email in January saying, hey, this is what we're about. Would you consider a donation? And then we'll send one in April saying, hey, this is what we're about. This is what we've done. Will you please consider donating? And that's it. So that's our fundraiser. We're just asking for 25 valid emails, and then we'll take care of the rest. But that's something that we'll be doing as well. So, yeah, thanks to everybody for being here. Really appreciate it. Question? Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. So, in WGI percussion, which is separate from what we're doing, they do have an age limit. For WGI Winds, which is what we'll all participate in, even percussionists, there is no age limit. So for us, there's no age limit. Yeah, of course. Anything else? Yeah. I've got to tell you, this has been the hardest part of this whole thing, because until about 30 minutes ago, I had no idea how many people were going to be truly, truly interested in this. We've sent out surveys, we've done all sorts of things, but we're starting from scratch. And so we kind of been like, we don't really know. We don't really know what that's going to look like. We do know that we'd like to have a percussion ensemble that performs in the back of the field, just different capacities like auxiliary, probably a drum set, synth, keyboards, those sorts of things. But honestly, especially this first year, it's probably going to depend on who registers and how we can sort of fill that out. So I know that's not a great answer, but I I just got a lot of data 30 minutes ago that we're still, now we can kind of structure things a little bit better now that we know who's here and what we can do. I think so. Yeah. My plan, so we have, most of you in here at least know, Molly, who did a lot of our design stuff for us. She and I have been working together on like the program look and the name and those sorts of things. And she's been a great resource in that. We're going to release that with registration is the plan. And then the show, I believe, if we're in a better place, that we're going to really talk about that in more detail at audition camps. So, yeah. Great. If you have any more questions, if you'd like to help the association out in any particular way, you can do those things. You can talk to me. Holly over here is going to be at this table. If you're just like ready to go for auditions and you're ready to register, we can do that manually here today. We can take care of that. If you're online, again, on the 28th is your best at chatpaa.org. And that's everything. So again, thanks everybody for being here. We'll be around for just a little while longer, but hope you have a great Thanksgiving weekend, and I look forward to seeing all of you on December 10th.
I left a stack of registration forms over there.
Mr. Pittman, can you do something for me, like, really quick? It's like 1 second.
Just 1 second.
Take care.